So what's next is you're going to have to choose time or money. My oldest daughter was getting ready to go to college, and I hardly saw my kids because I was always at work, because you don't make a generous 6-figure income working an 8-hour day, right? So you're always at work.
Right.
So it was a conversation with the kids, like, this is my daughter's last year in school. All these little stair-stepping kids are 2 years apart. What are we going to do? How do we want to spend that time? What do we value? As a family, what are our values? Do we value money, or do we value family? Do we value relationships? Whatever. Having a very candid conversation about what not having a disposable income looks like, what it means not to just go pick up Taco Bell for dinner, right? But having to cook meals. And the kids and I decided, and we mutually agreed, that I was going to leave and go teach high school at a Milwaukee choice school and give back to the community based on all of my experiences. Because I knew what kids were dealing with.
So you finally made it. You finally climbed the corporate ladder and making good money, had the house, able to support your family, and then you made the conscious decision to say, I want to now give back to the community. So I want to go back and I want to teach in school, which a lot of times teachers don't really make, the glorious, corporate money that's out there.
Yep, that's very true.
You wanted to give back. It's just amazing. It's like, hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jamar Jones, and this is another episode of the Foureva podcast, where we talk about business and we also talk about personal things, because business is personal. I am the owner of Foureva Media and also a speaker and the author of my brand new book, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. And we are going to get into some amazing topics here today, as we're going to be diving into defining moments, also just about community, relationships, and just really about personal growth. And we have an amazing guest on the podcast. We got Kayla Bradham from Sports Philanthropy Network, an inspirational instigator. We'll probably dive into that because that's very interesting. She is all over the place. Bounces back and forth from Wisconsin and probably to Chicago, quite a few times a week. But she is definitely on the move, and she is all about helping and providing hope, community development, culture, personal growth. It just has so much wisdom and knowledge to share. So welcome. Give everybody just a quick snapshot, just about a minute or something, of what's going on in your life.
Well, first of all, Jamar, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate that, and I'm honored to be here. What's going on in my life? It's summer, and everything is moving quickly. In a couple of weeks, I'll be moving 3 of my kids to college. So I have a daughter in Cedar Rapids at co-college, a son going to Syracuse, a daughter going to MATC, and 5 more kids in school. My youngest will be in 2nd grade. So
wow.
Summer is humming. Summer is humming, Jamar. That's
Sounds
eight,
like
that's
it.
8 kids for anybody who's doing this right now.
Yeah,
it's
8 kids.
It's 8 kids.
Wow. Was that a conscious decision of 8 kids?
You know what? Honestly, I don't know that it really started out that way, but I was an only child. I lived in a very poor home. It was just my mom and I, no brothers, no sisters, no dad in the picture. And I was lonely, like I'd take the tennis ball and throw it up against the garage, and it would kind of roll back, and you go back, you pick it up again, you throw it, but there's no one. So I said, man, I wish I had friends, right? And I had this idea of kids sitting in the living room building Legos together and beating each other up and playing, hot lava and all this stuff. And I missed out on that as a kid.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's really, to me, just about my house is so cool. It gets messy really fast. It gets clean really fast, but it is fun.
Wow. And that's actually, it reminds me of my mom. So she was she had me. I was the first of my brothers, and then she's like, you know what? He needs somebody to play with.
Yeah.
So then that's when my brother came along, which honestly is great. It's great, definitely, to have other siblings and people to kind of bounce things off of. Kind of briefly talked on the phone about some of your defining moments, and I think this actually works perfectly with the chapter we were just discussing as far as like life's not fair, you have to even out the odds. What was your defining moment to kind of get you where you're at today? Because you did not have an easy road at all, but you've kind of defined all odds, and you had those odds work in your favor at some point in your life, and now you're just on a great trajectory of doing amazing things, but also bringing up others as you're going. So talk about your defining moment.
Okay, well, my defining moments could come off of the back of your book. Small promo. I did not get paid for that, folks. 50% mindset, 50% action. I'll start with the action. My husband and I were married for 17 years, and at one point we found ourselves homeless.
Right.
And what do? Right? You have a handful and a half of kids. CPS will snatch up your kids, right? You can't live in a van with a gazillion kids.
Yeah.
So it was at that point, and of course, everybody knows that doesn't just come out of nowhere, right? The writing's on the wall. You can see, what's going to happen. So I was prepared.
Yeah.
I could see that this is where we were headed. When that moment came and we were homeless,
yeah,
the kids packed up a laundry basket and put it in the van, and at that moment we left. And my ex-husband and I are friends. We have a great relationship. He lives halfway across the country, and that's okay, and he's very happy. And I'm here, and I'm very happy, and the kids are all very happy. So first of all, you can make things work. You don't have to put down your ex. You don't have to be mean, right? That's an important message when we talk about mindset.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Be an adult. But being homeless, fun fact, I live in Milwaukee. Don't know if you know this or not, Jamar, but nobody will rent to a single mom with 8 kids in Milwaukee. Did you know that?
Really?
If you owned a house, would you rent to a single mom with 8 kids?
I mean, it's a lot to handle.
Right. You just, if you are a business person, finance, you assume that your house is going to be ruined and it's not a good investment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I would definitely think, it's so much commotion, so much stuff that's going on. You would think that, man, if I rent this out, I might not be in the best condition.
Right.
Yeah.
So did that occur to me? Absolutely. It's hard to find a place to live. The kids and I lived on 103rd and Silver Spring.
Okay.
If anybody's in Milwaukee, they know that that's not the easiest street to live on. That's a rough block.
Yeah.
We used to have to sit on the floor because the gunshots. We had plexiglass windows because the windows would be broken from the gunshots and things like that. And now we talk about mindset. 50% mindset. What are you going to do? The kids need to eat. The baby needs diapers, right? And I, by the way, I was a homeschool mom. We lived by Mount Mary College. We had a nice home. I didn't work. I homeschooled the kids. So my life went from this to this pretty quick. There's your defining moment. I worked 4 jobs. Started working at about 4 in the morning. Got done with work at about 10 o'clock at night. And I saved every penny I could. But obviously my rent was really expensive because, you can charge whatever you want to a single mom with 8 kids.
Wow.
Choosing the rent is in your favor. So I climbed my way up the corporate ladder. And I'm really thankful for that opportunity. And I was able to provide for my kids. And big defining moment or victory moment, being able to purchase a home because my credit score was obviously tanked.
Yep.
And working that much is really difficult to set money aside. It's hard. But my message is going back just a little bit, Jamar, I grew up severely physically, sexually, emotionally abused. So I could say that's not my fault. The statistics show kids who grow up without dads in the home tend to have children before they're married, tend to repeat cycles, right? So if I was 25 and working at McDonald's as a cashier, nobody would judge me because I could say it's not my fault. The deck was stacked against me. I mean, I'm an abused kid. My mom had severe mental health issues. I don't have a dad in the home. Basically, sort of left to defend for myself. I started working at 14. It's not my fault.
Wow.
Right? And I could have said the same thing. It's not my fault we're homeless. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm homeschooling my kids. This isn't my fault. I'm entitled. I didn't deserve this. I didn't ask for this. This isn't fair. Life isn't fair.
You could have just, had yourself swallowed by that.
Yeah.
And then just almost like that pride of yourself, like, I'm not supposed to have this. Right. Why am I in this position? Let me ask you real quick. I just want to go back. You had two key points. You said that when you were growing up, you were homeschooled, right?
No, I homeschooled my kids.
Oh, you homeschooled your kids. But when you were growing up, what was that home life like?
So it was rough.
Okay.
It was rough. I had a number of concussions. Research has shown now the effects of concussions and that brain injury and what can happen. I was 48 years old when I was diagnosed with ADD and ADHD.
Okay.
I don't
so quite
think
the opposite, right? Because usually it's like when you're a kid and you're going through, middle school, high school, that you kind of get that, like, oh, do they have some ADD or ADHD or something? And
so back in the day, just so you know, girls didn't have ADD. Only the boys, you ruckusy boys. Girls didn't have ADD. It was a boy thing, right? Boys couldn't sit still. So a lot of things, just kind of get swept under the rug, or they're just not noticed, or the right questions aren't asked, and you only know what you know. I didn't know that I had ADD. In fact, when I found out that I had ADD, ADHD? When my kids finally convinced me. When my kids said, Mom, you need to go to a doctor. You need to just ask for a test and say, and they can test you, Mom. They can test you, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You're not the only person.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that, but
there's no shame
just
in it.
right over my head. Would I ever think, that you only know what you know?
Yeah. Talk about the corporate ladder part where you started to climb the corporate ladder. Why did you make that conscious decision to climb that corporate ladder and say, you know what, because I know a lot of people are maybe in a tough spot where the cards are stacked against them, and they're just kind of like, well, forget it. No one's gonna help me right now, and they're not motivated to climb that corporate ladder. And because a lot of times that corporate side of things is very difficult to do. You got to be people pleaser. A lot of times you have to be a studier. You have to really take advantage of opportunities. You got to work hard.
So I'm so glad you asked that, because you won't believe what a pivotal question that is. I said I was working 4 jobs, right? So I was cleaning RVs. I was doing private care nursing for a quadriplegic. I was working in a fitness center, and I was managing a 4-plex. Right, and picking up whatever side odd jobs you need me to babysit your kids, you need me to pull your weeds, you need me to wash your windows, I'll do it all, right? But I realized that the problem with a lot of the things I was doing is none of those were going to get insurance, right? They weren't going to get me health insurance for my kids. And I did not necessarily, although I have no problems taking in times of need, I didn't want to continue to be in need, right? I wanted insurance for my kids. So I had this path that I could choose. I was either going to manage a Starbucks, and I had been offered that position, and I had applied at a gym. And the reason I had applied at a gym is because I realized I need to control that stress. Somebody had said to me, the best part-time job you can get is a job that gives you something for free. Believe it or not, managing a Starbucks or cleaning a gym part-time. I chose cleaning the gym part-time. And it wasn't necessarily about a free gym membership. It was this idea that if I go to a Starbucks, where it really is my long-term path for opportunity, it's probably managing another Starbucks and another one and just hopping around. If I start as a cleaner, I'm going to be the best cleaner they've ever seen. In fact, I negotiated for 25 cents more on my hourly pay. I said, I have a college degree and I clean RVs, residential and commercial buildings. I'm worth an extra 25 cents an hour. and it went into negotiations for this extra quarter, right?
Wow.
But I took that cleaning position, went into the kids club, went into the front desk, started doing memberships, started being the weekend manager, started being the sales manager. Before you know it, I'm managing a gym, then I'm managing a different one, then I'm managing a different one. And I don't regret that, because the hard work paid off.
That is amazing. There's so much to unpack with you. It's mind-boggling. Oh my God.
Jamar.
There's so many things, so many good lessons and with what you're saying. There's another chapter that I have that's called You Ain't Working Hard. And it's because a lot of people think they're working hard, but they're not. They're doing about 10% effort in a direction, and then they just kind of throw up their hands and like, it's just not fair, it's not working, I can't get anything going. But you're not. Are you working 4 jobs? Are you just kind of doing the grunt work, to get your way up and work the system and see what the opportunities are? Are you taking advantage? Are you and one key thing that you said is that you wanted to be the best cleaner. It wasn't about like, I'm just going to go in, clock out, and just do my thing. I'm going to go in and be the best cleaner that they've ever seen. So that way it gives you a chance to even out those odds.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance. It just evens out, because if you were just a mediocre cleaner or just like I clock in, clock out, there would have been no chance to even out those odds. So once you were able to get the house with your 8 kids, what was the next step as far as for you figuring out like what's next in the story? What's next in the chapter?
Well, so first of all, getting the house was huge.
Yeah.
I can't hardly even say how huge without tears coming to my eyes, because
down payment, you need,
there's so much that you need, right?
So much.
And if you're living in a neighborhood, and Milwaukee's very segregated, and we know this, right? So I obviously didn't blend into my neighborhood, and yet some of the best neighbors I ever had. I got just barreled in by snow. I have a 12-passenger van, right?
Yeah.
You need it with all the 8 kids. All these kids and men. The plow just came and buried me.
Mm-hmm.
And all these kids, all these men just came out with shovels, and they all just started going at my van. And I was just like, oh my gosh, do you want me to pay you? And they're like, no, we're neighbors. This is what neighbors do. So let's talk about that.
There's good in the
Milwaukee.
world, people.
There's a lot of good in the world.
world.
Where I lived, it didn't matter that my skin was white, and I thank God for that every day, because wonder if it did.
Yeah.
Wonder if it did. Because I was working 4 jobs, so my 8 kids were alone all day. So wonder if it did.
And at this time, you were a single mother.
Yeah.
So single mother, 8 kids, working 4 jobs.
Yep.
You're a walking testimony.
But it's not me. My big kids were great, right? So my big kids are raising their little brothers and sisters, number 1, so they get the credit. Number 2, I just gotta say, God gets a ton of credit, because I couldn't have done it, right?
Yeah.
And having, I'm just so thankful. I don't know how life necessarily works, but like you say, work hard, and I say yes, but also work smart, right? So I went from 25 cents over minimum wage to a very substantial 6-figure income, because I chose to work smart, right?
Oh my God.
And I think, when
wow.
Thank you. It's not me. It's good people, and it's a lot of it is luck, right?
Yeah. It's not luck. I don't think it is luck. Luck is only a circumstance of you banging on a door long enough.
Maybe.
Because your work ethic, and I do say this in the book too, it's not all just about working hard. So you do have to work hard in the right direction, and that's where the working smart part comes from. Because a lot of people are working hard in one direction that they shouldn't be in. Yeah. And that's crucial. But I think that luck piece is only a product of the action that you're putting in. It's just, if I bang on 1,000 doors, it's not luck if one opens up and it's an amazing opportunity that changes my life.
Yeah.
But if I bang on 2 doors and one's, it's just that amazing opportunity that changes my life, then that's some luck. Right. That's some crazy luck. But if you were out, getting it, doing whatever you could with all the odds stacked against you, and you still. That's why I applauded that, because it's people just make so many excuses, complaints all the time. And it's just like, there's a lot of people that don't that are in a way worse situation than you. And it's like, what are you complaining about? Just get to work.
And it's neat that you say that, because that's always my message is like, I'm nobody. Like humbly and confidently, I'm nobody. I'm this little girl who grew up abused, who grew up without money, who struggled growing up without a dad, who's been homeless, whatever. And I hit the glass ceiling in corporate America, right? Okay. And I think what I would say to anybody in a position of leadership or power is, as you're climbing that ladder, there is a thing called 360-degree leadership. You can influence everybody in your circle. But rising leaders need to consider, who are they working for? Are they working for their boss, or are they working for the people that they manage and lead? And I would challenge everybody to keep the perspective that good leaders lead, and upper management can manage all day long. They can make the rules, that's fine. Leaders can enforce them and say, not my rules, but I'm getting paid to enforce it. Mm-hmm. I want to lead you.
Yeah.
Good leaders lead.
Good leaders lead. Let's just fast forward a little bit. I want to get this full story in this podcast. So you've gotten the house. You have your corporate job, but you hit kind of a ceiling with that. What was the next step?
Because it's important.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
you get
amazing.
one life. You get one life. We're all leaving a legacy. What's your legacy? You have one opportunity in your lifetime, so that when you die, people remember you for something good or something bad or something mediocre, or they forget you.
Right. So you wanted to leave your stamp. And so after how long did you teach?
I've been teaching for 2 years.
Okay, teaching for 2 years. And so how did you then get into the space that you're in now, which is Sports Philanthropy Network, and now that you're the Vice President of Community Development, Culture, and Growth? So how did that happen then?
Life has a funny way of, like, you don't have to go looking for your, like, whatever you want to call it, your ministry, your volunteer work, your people. All of that will come to you. Like, you just be open to receive, and you'll get all kinds of things that need to be fixed in the world, right? Ironically, teaching doesn't pay enough to feed 8 kids. I don't know if that's a surprise to you or not.
It's not a surprise. That's why I'm like, wow.
My business partner and I had been in discussion, and he had this vision of the Sports Philanthropy Network. He had the bones built out. He had the strategy. He had the all of the legal stuff ready. It was just a matter of building it out and scaling it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, sports philanthropy, huh? Like, wow, that's a really great way to change the world and make the world better. That's a great way to create hope and possibility. Right. I have the best job in the world. I work with professional athletes, foundations, leagues, teams, and I help them spend their money for good. I get paid to spend other people's money for good.
And you're doing a positive change, through that. And it is like the ultimate job. So you partnered up with your business partner to do this, and that was all through when you were teaching, and it was just an idea, right? This all started with just a thought.
It just started with a thought, and it's grown to something amazing. Wow. I mean, I can't describe how big it is. It's so cool because people are like, it's so cool you work with professional athletes. Can you get me Super Bowl tickets? And I'm blessed because I get to go to the Super Bowl. I get to go to the Big Ten playoff games. I get to go to the Big Ten media days or whatever, right? Yeah. Like, so I get these press credentials, which is fabulous, by the way, and job perks, right? Find a job with job perks. I told you I wanted that free gym membership. Well, you got to keep elevating. You got to keep going.
Get those perks.
But the greatest thing for me is I work with good athletes who are committed to doing good work. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So you get a dirtbag athlete who's conceited and, money hungry and not willing to give back to their community or go back and change anything. I don't have to work with them.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I guess we're in different silos. That's okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. See ya. Yeah, because that's not what the mission's about.
Right. The mission is about opportunity. It's about empowerment. It's about DEI. It's about women in sports. It's about access. It's about just inclusion. It's about leveling the playing field, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no pun intended, right?
No pun intended. No pun.
So I want to ask you a question that I got asked on a podcast not too long ago. If I was coming to you and you were my mentor, what's the number one advice you would give me?
That's a great question. I asked my podcast guest that too. I don't always think about the answer. The number one answer I would give you is be the person you were created to be. You know, you don't have to follow your passion. You don't have to follow what you're good at necessarily, but you do have to be who you were created to be. And I'd say, you know, sit with yourself and figure that out, because my experience has told me that all of those things that have happened to me, and there's 4 hours more, right? There's 4 hours more. I've buried 2 little girls. I mean, I could go on and on and on. All of your it's not fair moments were given to you for a purpose so that you could do something with them. And so that you could choose to be a victim, to be an it's not fair, or you could use your mindset, put that to action, and use that bad for good. And I truly believe when we all collectively lock arms and we start using our bad moments for good, that's where change happens, and good change happens.
You drop some gems there.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, that's from my heart. Honestly, that's from my heart.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing advice. Absolutely amazing advice. Well, I'm definitely going to have you on other things because there's just so much more to talk about. I think that, you know, with your story, you know, we talk about defining moments, who you are as a person. You know, you're almost like a walking testimony of kind of what my book is about, you know, because it just says that you can kind of control your circumstances. You are in control. And once you start to have self-love and self-evaluation of who you are, that self-awareness, that's what unlocks everything. Yeah. Oh my God, I have so many just more questions, but I want to be respectful of time. What do you want to plug? What do you have going on, and where can people find you?
If people are looking for hope and possibility, I would recommend that they catch The Legacy After the Locker Room vodcast. That's Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 at Central. And you can watch that live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook at Kayla J. Bradham.
Awesome.
But the whole vodcast is the story of professional athletes and their stories of creating hope and possibility through sports. Their stories are way more interesting than mine.
Oh, I don't know about that. But yeah, we will definitely drop in the link to that podcast on all of our platforms as well. And how can they get a hold of you?
Find me on LinkedIn at Kayla Bradham. Follow me on Instagram, Kayla Bradham. Reach out to me on Facebook. If people are interested in, they need help or they want to make the world better, those are the people I want to call my tribe.
Yes. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I think you've dropped so many just good things for people to hear, young people or people that are struggling in their career. Maybe there's just so many things that you just gave, which is amazing. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. And everybody that's listening and watching, please like, comment, and subscribe to all of our platforms and our channel. Make sure you leave a review, and we're going to keep this going. So if you are at a point in your life where you want to make that transition and you want to make that change, definitely go ahead and grab the book, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life, and reach out to Kayla, because, you know, she can probably connect you or at least give you some advice onto where you need to go next and how to do that. So thank you so much for listening and for watching. And until the next episode, see you then. Peace. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more amazing content that we're going to be putting out. And don't forget, you can change your circle to change your life.